Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to a Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Monday, July 17, 2023, and tonight I will be talking about Monday Night Raw. Alright, so Monday Night Raw was in Atlanta, Georgia, and this was Cody Rhodes' big homecoming. So when he came out, the crowd was already chanting for Cody, Cody, and they just gave him a big, massive whoa. So he starts talking about how the ATL is home and what he has, typically what they want to talk about. And he starts bringing up Brock Lesnar. He says that Brock Lesnar should come down to the ring and accept his challenge. And he says no matter what time Lesnar shows up, he will be there waiting for him. And Cody's mom was in attendance. He says the two words that describe his relationship with Brock Lesnar are hard times. And the first time, like afterwards, Cody gets out of the ring and he's like, oh, I guess like shaking hands with fans, and then Brock Lesnar's music plays. Crowd was going American Idol for Cody with that. Whoa, yeah, well they were in his hometown of the ATL, so of course they were gonna serenade him. So the first time Brock Lesnar's a no show, and then the second time the music plays, he's like walking up that ramp. He goes inside, and then Lesnar beats him up with the chair, and talk about adding insult to injury. So you know how I said Cody Rhodes' mom was there? He hits an F5 in front of Cody's mom, and there's a Kimura in front of Cody's mom. This kind of reminds me of when Brock Lesnar this is to Zach Gowen, and remember Zach Gowen's mom was in the crowd, and she was just sitting there watching her son get beat up. That reminded me of this moment. And so then they enter the ring, and Lesnar basically accepts Cody's challenge for a match at SummerSlam, and he tells him he will see him at SummerSlam. So it's official, and we're going to have Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar 3 at SummerSlam. There is no stipulation as of yet, but I'm very curious to see what type of stipulation they add. This match should have a stipulation, in my opinion. But what type of stipulation would you add to this match? Maybe based on what happened today, a submission match? So we'll see. But that was the opening of tonight's show. And honestly, for it being Cody's homecoming, I'm really surprised he made no further appearances on tonight's show. You know, he didn't even cut a backstage interview or another promo. This was just a one and done deal. So kind of baffling. You would think they would capitalize on that, but they didn't. We get Matt Riddle versus Gunther with Imperium banned from ringside. And honestly, this wasn't a bad match. Like Matt Riddle took it to Gunther. Of course, Gunther won. You know, let's get a definite finish and go with last man standing. Ooh, I like that. Last man standing match. So at the end, Gunther grabs the microphone and he says people can boo him all they want, but won't change the fact that tonight is the greatest night of these sad people's lives. He calls himself the greatest intercontinental champion. He says that he's done with Matt Riddle and he's building a legacy. And he calls out Drew McIntyre and says he will be the next victim to the ring general. So with Gunther being what? Less than 60 days away from surpassing Honky Tonk Man's record, I do not see Gunther losing at SummerSlam. If anything, he will probably lose after SummerSlam. But I don't see him. I heard rumors it might be a rubber match between Cody and Lesnar at the yeah, it is. They confirmed it that it's official. Lesnar versus Cody 3 at SummerSlam. We get a Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez backstage interview. And they basically said that they're not going to back down from anybody, not Trish and Zoe, not Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. And then Rhea Ripley shows up. She attacks Liv and she brawls Raquel. Rhea kicks Raquel in the leg. And, they're playing the fact that, they have a match tonight. Is she going to be okay? Is she going to be okay? And later on, we actually do get a medical update. The doctor says she's good to go, but he wants to do more tests, and she declines because, that's how they had to relinquish the tag titles in the first place. So we get a Judgment Day promo, and Rhea Ripley's talking about how if anybody who thought that they were going to break up, she said they're not that fragile, they're just built differently. So this is kind of surprising that they mentioned that, considering the fact that there were rumors that JD Madonna? Madogo? How do you say his last name? was supposed to join Judgment Day, but it seems like that came to a pause, maybe an end. We haven't seen him in a while. So Rhea Ripley's saying that she's just the most dominant woman in WWE, and that she says Finn and Damian Priest will become world champions. Dom will become the NXT North American champion, and Dominik says that he will beat Wesley. So apparently Dominik challenged Wesley to a match on NXT. Again, you guys, I don't watch NXT, so maybe I should. Maybe I should, apparently. Damian Priest says that all those boosts won't change the fact that Dom will become an NXT North American champion. He says, and all those boosts don't change the fact that he will become champion. And then, one of the things that Finn Balor says that I actually really liked, he says, "Te quiero mucho, carnal." This is hilarious. Basically, Finn Balor saying that he loves Damian Priest. And since he did last week's show, NXT's background noise for me. Yeah, I don't watch NXT. So Finn Balor says he will be listening to what Rollins has to say, and he says it won't change the issues between them until his hand is raised. Basically, Dominik Mysterio in Spanish is telling people to shut their mouths because he's talking. He basically says que se caen el hocico. And then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out, and Sami's saying basically, well, the whole point of this segment, I'm just going to cut it right there. The whole point of this segment is that the main event is going to be a tag team match. It's going to be Damian Priest and Dominik Mysterio versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for those undisputed tag titles. Yeah, it took forever to get to that. But that is the whole point of this segment. So after this is when we get the Raquel's medical update. But since I talked about that, I'm going to go ahead and skip over that. So then we get the WWE Women's Tag Team title match. It's Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. This was an okay match. I'm really happy Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville won this match. The reason why I'm happy, this is Sonya Deville's first championship title victory that she's won since joining the WWE. And not only that, this makes Chelsea Green the fourth woman to hold both. Crowd did not care that they won. This makes Chelsea, unfortunately they didn't. This makes Chelsea Green the fourth woman to hold both the WWE Women's Tag titles and the Impact Knockouts Tag titles. But the Inspiration, or formerly the Iconics, are still to this day the only women's tag team to hold both the WWE tag team titles and the Knockouts tag titles. In case you're wondering who's the other person, it's Zelina Vega. Back in the day, she held the Knockouts tag titles, and so she's also on that list. So there's only 4 women that have been able to do that. The women's tag titles need to be retired. I mean, I can see why you think that. So after this, they go backstage, and Sonya Deville says that no one wants to hear about Raquel's fake injury, and Sonya said they're going to run to the division, and they better get respect. So what division is she talking about? I mean, okay, let's look at the teams here. You have Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. You have Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Right, that's 2. And you have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. That's 3. Plus them, that's 4 teams. Like, that's not really much of a division. At least that's on the main roster. I don't know how many are in NXT. So, I mean, I guess you can count Io Sky and Bailey, so that would be 5. This women's tag team division, they don't really care about the tag team division here. They don't, because it's like the feud, there's always just like one feud when there's like 5 teams. You can have 2 other teams feud without the tag titles. But, and speaking of which, where the hell are Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell? We haven't seen them since they lost in that gauntlet match. And where the hell are Alba Fire and Isla Dawn? Not to mention, they randomly threw together the teams of Nikki Cross and Emma, and Tegan Nox and Dana. When Emma and Dana have a previous history of being a tag team, they could have been end, but nope. Nope. We didn't get that. So we get a Seth Rollins sit-down interview. And before we can even really talk much, Finn Balor interrupts, and he wants his rematch. Finn Balor says he doesn't care how many contenders there are. The line starts and ends with him. Finn Balor tells Seth Rollins to tell Adam Pearce to make the match. Seth Rollins tells Finn Balor he needs to stop living in the past and move forward. Finn Balor says he's not living in the past, he's living in chaos and wants to do to Rollins what he did to him. He says he will alter Rollins' career forever. Rollins tells Finn Balor that the world title is much bigger than Balor's vendetta. And he tells Finn Balor to get out of his face. So he does, and then he comes back and he attacks Seth Rollins and tells him to make the match. So obviously, we're going to get Finn Balor versus Seth freaking Rollins 3 at SummerSlam. Vince put together the women's tag team by drawing straws and randomness. Yeah, that's true. So very fitting that in the pay-per-view where Finn Balor became the first Universal Champion and had to relinquish his title, he's going to challenge Seth Rollins. Good segment between Rollins and Balor. Yeah, I definitely do agree. It was a really good segment. I actually really dug that segment. We get a Viking rules match. It's Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders, and I actually really like this match. I like the other Viking rules match that we had, like I think it was last year with the Viking Raiders and the New Day. That was a really fun match, and this is really fun. One of the spot that I thought was cool was Otis doing the Ivar doing the moonsault to Otis, or how about Otis catching Ivar mid-air and then slamming him onto the ring. Valhalla spearing Maxine through the table. But the Viking Raiders were victorious in this. I'm really glad that they were victorious. I would have felt some type of way if you had the Viking Raiders lose in the Vikings rules match. But this was a really fun match. I hope we get to continue seeing the Vikings rules match. I enjoyed it. So next we get Shayna Baszler versus Nikki Cross. Totally pointless. This was an enhancement match. Shayna Baszler won by submission. Honestly, I feel bad for Nikki Cross because you could have just put Shayna Baszler in there with the random jobber. Called it a day. So Ronda Rousey's like watching from like the skybox. I enjoyed the match too, right? And Ronda says she's been thinking a lot of Shayna's complaint. And Ronda actually called herself a future Hall of Famer here. I'm sure that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. She calls herself the greatest combat sports athlete of all time and calls Shayna a knockoff version of her. And Shayna Baszler fires back and says she's the better Ronda Rousey in the ring. And Ronda says she's going to get Shayna booked at SummerSlam. So I don't know if this is going to be a one-time match, if we're going to get a trilogy here, but it seems like Shayna versus Ronda Rousey is probably happening at SummerSlam. Whether it be a stipulation match or just a regular singles match, it remains to be seen. But I think that if there is a stipulation, we could have a fight pit match. Wasn't a huge fan of the match, but the segment was okay. We get a Ricochet backstage interview. He's basically talking about how Logan Paul just doesn't get it. It's going to happen at SummerSlam. Yeah, definitely. He says that the people in the crowd are not here for social media and that everyone's a joke to Logan Paul. Once again, Ricochet issues a challenge to Logan Paul in Tampa, Florida. He says he's going to hurt him where it finally hurts his ego. They're obviously going to set up Ricochet versus Logan Paul at SummerSlam. We had the Miz TV with Becky Lynch. And the Miz asked her if she lost her step. And this set her off because she says she's lost a lot of things in the last year. But the one thing she hasn't lost is her step. And like, she's like coming in for the Miz. Like, she just gets like super close to him. And he's just like trying to back away. And she says that she's aware of how this works and tells Miz to bring out Trish. So Trish comes out with Zoe Starks. And basically, the whole point of this is Becky wants a rematch. Trish doesn't want to give it to her. So ultimately, what ends up happening is that Trish agrees to give Becky her rematch on a couple conditions. One, Becky needs to beat Zoe Starks. Two, when Zoe Starks beats Becky, she's going to need Becky to get on her knees and say thank you, Trish. And three, she wants Becky to get tattooed "Thank you, Trish" on her chest. Really? Like, those are her stipulations? Like, okay, I'm pretty sure Becky Lynch is winning this one. And then Zoe and Trish attack Becky. Yeah, kind of was not a huge fan of that segment. We get Shinsuke Nakamura versus Big Bronson Reed. So the nameplate said Big Bronson Reed when they were promoting this match. However, he was not introduced as Big Bronson Reed. I have a feeling that's a whole Vince McMahon thing. Big Bronson Reed, really? That's not needed. Really, it's not. So this match ends in DQ. Bronson Reed wins by DQ, I should say. Let me see. I hope we move on from this Becky and Trish feud. It's awful. They are awful part of Raw. Whatever happened to Lita? She kind of just disappeared. So Bronson Reed wins this by DQ because Tommaso Ciampa attacks him. Because remember, Bronson Reed attacked Tommaso Ciampa, costing him his match against Miz. So at the end, Shinsuke Nakamura attacks Ciampa. And when they go backstage, Shinsuke Nakamura says he's tired of everyone getting in his business. And he reiterates to Byron Saxton and he yells it that he's tired of everyone getting in his business. So our main event is the Undisputed WWE Tag Team title match, Damian Priest and Dominik Mysterio versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This was actually a really fun main event. I actually really liked this main event. Before the match starts, Seth Rollins comes on. He attacked Finn Balor, took him away from this match. I guess one spot that I did like was when Dominik was on the ground and KO did the whole Eddie thing and he did the frog splash. I thought that was a really cool spot. And like the crowd was super into this. That Hurricanrana from the top rope to Sami Zayn by Damian Priest was pretty cool. The main event was entertaining and brought the crowd to their feet. Yes, it did. So, of course, Rhea Ripley played a factor in this match. She sent Kevin Owens crashing into the steel steps, and she caused a distraction. But you know who came out? Liv Morgan came out, and she attacked Rhea Ripley. And then this allowed Kevin Owens to hit Damian Priest with the stunner. Sami Zayn hit the Hollywood kick to Dominik, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn successfully retained their tag titles. And this was the end to Monday Night Raw. So overall, I didn't think tonight's Raw was too bad compared to what we've got in the last couple weeks. There was a lot of things that I did enjoy about it. There were quite a few things I did not enjoy about it. You know, 5/10 decent show. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. It was a pretty decent show, and I liked most of it. And the pacing didn't feel completely off because normally what they do is they have the match. Then when they come back from commercial break, goes to the backstage segment, then back to the match. So the pacing, didn't feel too bad. But aside from that, like I said, decent show. Can't complain too much about it. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys Wednesday after Dynamite. Bye.